There's a reason why you're supposed to present yourself every single time you leave your house. There's a reason why you are supposed to put your best foot forward. A first impression is a lasting impression. And what impression do you want to make on people as you leave your house? Because the impression is, I don't give a damn. That's the impression. The impression is that you couldn't possibly care less about anything going on. You don't even care to brush your teeth. You don't even care to wash your tail. You don't even care to put on real shoes before leaving your house. So when people say, oh, well, you should just mind your business. Why do you care so much? Because we live in this thing called society. I don't know how many times I gotta spell it out for folks, but we have a society. That means we live amongst each other. And when the standards go down, everything goes down. Because you can't convince me that the standards that you have for yourself when they are in decline isn't indicative of standards in general declining. Understand society is the people. The nation is the people. So how we take care of ourselves, how we choose to present ourselves, it matters.
Listen. Oh my God. Shout out to Sandra Faye. Make sure you support her channel if you haven't already. She is absolutely spitting the truth. Oh my God. Absolutely no lies detected whatsoever. She is 100% correct, in my opinion. And we see so much of this till it's getting out of hand. And she's right. A lot of them just seem to not care. You don't care until you're treated a certain way, until people treat you the way you treat yourself. And then now you want to claim racism and cry wolf and complain and, about this type of treatment and that type of treatment. Even beyond that, you should be concerned of how you present yourself and how you, treat yourself and how you respect yourself. It shouldn't be contingent upon other people, because the thing about it is you can't control what other people do, but you can control you. And the very thing that people have control over is the very thing that they lose sight of. It's the very thing that you claim you don't, that you seem to not care about. The very thing you can control, your bodily autonomy. You talk about that. Your choices in life, how you present yourself, how you dress, how you speak, how you present yourself to others, how you maneuver in life. That is all within your control. That is all within your control of how you want to navigate that. But those are the very things that some of these ratchet women tend to ignore and tend to not focus on, but then also complain about it. To me, you can't complain about your outcomes if you're not willing to do anything about it. But this is exactly what we see. We see people complaining about certain outcomes. But then when you ask them, okay, so how did you contribute to this? Did you play your part? Did you do what's necessary to make sure that you're not in these situations? And this is where they start blaming others and start shifting the blame and start, using everything they can to make excuses for not being accountable for their own actions. Women complain about being single mothers, but you do realize that you place yourself in that position to become a single mother, baby. Your actions allowed you to be that. You open your legs to a man that was not committed to you. So why complain? Why not accept it and own up to it and learn from it? But instead, we get a lot of pushback. Oh my God, y'all just hate women for talking about it. No, for addressing it. You should want to address the issue and try to get to the bottom or the root cause as to why you're maneuvering the way you're maneuvering, and stop blaming it on everybody else when the control is up to you. Have control of your body. You make the decision of who you sleep with. You make the decision as to where this person actually has protection. And you have all types of contraception in the world to protect yourself, but a lot of women don't do it. Oh my God. But you want to find excuses for your choices. That's a problem. And yes, she's right. You ask, well, why do you care? Well, because we are in this society, and a lot of things that you do has a bearing on how people view us. The people who are trying to do things the right way, who are taking responsibility and learning and doing things in a way that would give them a better outcome. Y'all ratchets are out here doing things that continue to bring us down, to make all of us look bad. Because when y'all do the things that y'all do and put it out there in society, it's not, people aren't distinguishing between, the good women and the bad women. They're just black women. Black women are aggressive. Black women are ratchet. Black women are loud. Black women are this. The same way women put all men into this no good ain't category. That's what society does to black people as a whole. They're not distinguishing and separating the good from the bad. No, they're putting us all in one category. So yeah, we have a right to have something to say about it if it's making us look bad and we're being portrayed in a bad light because of your irresponsibilities, the lack of being responsible, and your poor choices is making us all look bad. So yes, we have a right to speak on it, and also to try to get you to see a better alternative. That it doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to be stuck in the mud. Hey, if you made some poor choices, you don't have to live there. You can actually learn and do better and make better choices. I don't think that because you made poor choices in the past that you're stuck and that you can't do any better. No, I think you have to change your mentality in order to do better. And if we're in a society of people who don't even see that, how are we going to get better? How are you going to be better for your children? How are you going to teach your children better if you don't know better? You know, when you learn better, you do better and you teach others to do better. But if you can't even get past that, if you can't even get past people having an opinion about what they see in the community that's hurting our community, if you are oppressed and triggered by that, then there's no helping you. Because some people are so stuck in warp, they don't even realize that it is a problem. So we talk about the public image. We've talked about men in the past, the young boys sagging their jeans and all of that. And that's a big problem. But we never really like to discuss the nature of how these women are out here dressing with every body part out, in revealing clothing, like dressing like hoes in heat. But then you want the utmost respect from everybody. You want to be treated a certain way, but you don't present yourself in the way that you want to be treated. And that's something that we have to learn to change. We got to stop pushing the narrative and spinning it like, oh, well, a man shouldn't objectify a woman. Okay, maybe he shouldn't. Maybe he should not objectify a woman who's looking like a hoe, walking at night with barely anything on and half her body out. Maybe he needs to contain himself, right? So even if the men contain themselves, right, and they don't catcall and they don't see something that's appealing to them and are compelled to say something, because that's the part of the nature of men. They see women, they see the female body, because if you have a heterosexual man who's attracted to a woman who like women, then he's going to be attracted to that. Now, maybe if they should contain themselves. They see a body part that gets them going. Maybe they should contain themselves. But should that make it okay for you to present yourself as something that you're not? Because I don't care what nobody say. You could feel the freedom and the empowerment all you want to walk out with your tea and A hanging out. And if no man says anything to you and they contain themselves, I guarantee you those very women will be looking around like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why nobody said I look good? Because the thing about it is that a lot of women don't want to acknowledge you are doing that for some type of attention. As much as women say, oh, we don't get dressed for a man, that's some bullshit if I ever heard it. You like when you get attention. You like when a man in particular says you look good. Oh my God, you smell good. So you walk around, you buy all these perfumes and spend all this money, all these smell goods. You want some, and you're looking for a compliment. You're fishing for. You want somebody it would be nice. They would say, to have somebody to compliment you. Oh, you smell good. Oh my God, you look good. I like that dress. And yeah, women compliment other women, but women also want compliments from men as well. I don't care what nobody says. So, I mean, we got to address the fact that a lot of this is done for attention. You walk out like that because you want attention. When you get the attention, then you claim you don't want it. Well, if you don't want that attention, what's the point of going out there, putting your body on display? How does that make you feel? So you're telling me that women are empowered and feel good to go out and wear their TNA out just because. So I think there's a much deeper dive when we talk about these things. There's something more that we need to address. It goes beyond what we see. There's a lot of mental issues going on that's never been addressed, and they're trying ways to cope with what's going on in their heads. And this is why a lot of women think the way they think. And a lot of the thinking is irrational. It doesn't make any sense. Why? Because there's something more going on, and they're displaying their issues in the way they dress, in the way they talk, how they move, how they think, all of it. This is why it doesn't make any sense, because it's not rational. It's not logical. So when we see women walking around out here in pajamas, it's a mental issue, in my opinion. It's a mental issue that you choose to go out here dressed like you just rolled out of bed. It's not just about being comfortable, because you can be comfortable in other clothing as well. It's not just pajamas and bonnets and slippers. No, it's an entitlement thing that, hey, I'm gonna do what I want to do and nobody better not check me. And if you got a problem with it, you the problem, not me. So yeah, when we talk about the image of Black women, it's definitely a problem. And it's something that those women who choose to do that are going to have to change if they want to have a better, life perspective. And, if you want people to respect you and treat you accordingly, you have to present yourself as such. And we could say, yeah, there was a time where, because this was brought up too at a point where people respected themselves and dressed appropriately and they still got treated badly. Yeah. Now, the thing about that is now you can definitely see a clear example of it's not on. Now, this is when you could say, hey, it's not the Black people. You could clearly state and defend that to say, you know what, in the 60s, 50s and 60s, when Black people wore clothes, they were covered up. You didn't see a whole bunch of black people out here walking with their pants sagging and the women with their TNA hanging out. No, they wore full dresses, hats. They really walked out looking very presentable, and they demanded respect. Now, if we're talking about racism and people who just had a problem, then the issue was not on the Black image at that time. The issue was on the other people who had a problem. This is why there's problems amongst everybody walking. It's not just Black, it's just not white, it's everybody. So we talk about systemic racism and Jim Crow and all of these things where these people, did things to Black people who weren't bothering them, just being racist for just because they are, and they hate people for no reason, then that's their problem. That's not your problem. That's not a systemic problem with the Black community. That would be a systemic problem with the white community or whoever feels like that. So we just shifted. Now you got to give the credit where the credit is due. So we didn't have an image problem then. They had the problem. But it doesn't mean you negate the fact that now we're in a situation or in a time where it is a problem, because we've devolved from that place. You've regressed from that perspective where black people didn't have an image problem. You dressed up, you looked nice, you knew how to present yourself. This is where you can't put it on black people at the time, but you got to call a spade a spade. It wasn't the issue for the blacks with their image. It was the white people who had the racist issue. So they had the issue. That's what's needed to be fixed at the same time. Two things can be true at the same time. You can't negate one for the other. So just because other people had a problem with you doesn't mean you reduce yourself to them, that you start to just devalue yourself because other people don't like you. No, you hold true to your standards. Just because you respect yourself and people chose not to respect you because of their own insecurities and issues doesn't mean that you stoop to their level. You stay steadfast in what you believe in, your core values, because eventually you're gonna rise to the top. So why reduce yourself to something just because you don't feel that they're giving you the respect that you deserve? The same way women talk about men cheating, but then y'all turn around and be the exact type of men that you complain about. Let's talk about it. So should you reduce yourself to the very people that you complain about because they got issues, or you stay steadfast in what your morals and your values and stick to what you believe in? So I feel like in our communities, a lot of, because that'll be a way, excuse people will use too, to say, oh, well, when we do care our self-respect, we still get, well, you may not get disrespected by everyone. Once again, you can't control what other people do. You can only control you. So focus on that, because you have to be held responsible for your choices and the things that you do, not somebody else. So listen, I'm gonna leave it here. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel, turn on that notification bell to be notified when I go live or post new content. Once again, shout out to Sandra Faye. I definitely agree with her perspective on this video, but y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye. DeeDeesReactions.